Hello, my name is Jason Edwards and I'm a therapist, relationship expert, and I've also started the blog Monsters Live Amongst Us. This is to help anyone and everyone who has ever been a victim of narcissistic abuse. That has become the specialist area I've been working in now for quite some time. Whether it's abuse from colleagues at work, abuse from a manager, abuse from someone you're currently in a relationship or someone you was in a relationship with, or worst of all, narcissistic abuse from a family member. And that is one of the things that I do want to talk about today in the first of these blogs. I thought I'd do these as people don't always have time to sit and read long blogs, and the blogs I write about abuse on my site can sometimes be quite lengthy. I suppose just a little bit about me first. I've been working as a therapist for over 10 years now. I'm also a mediation consultant and crisis negotiation consultant as well. So I know an awful lot about relationships, the dynamics of relationships. Working as a therapist, I know a lot about self-healing, recovery, and how we view the world and how we interact with other people. I was the victim of narcissistic abuse in a relationship. I've never made any secret of that. And it was one of the worst and one of the most painful times of my life. And I didn't even realize it was actually going on. And I think that is one of the worst things about when you're being abused by someone, either a family member or in a relationship, is you don't realize it's happening to you until it ends. Unfortunately, I also worked in an organization where I had a narcissistic manager who was pretty much the living embodiment of someone who was a textbook narcissist. And that also affected me emotionally for a while, but I managed to very much recover fully, get myself really strong, motivated, get back my confidence again after that episode. And what those two episodes did for me was actually allowed me to do something really positive, was to not be a victim. I actually put everything down in a book. I released the book a few months ago. It's called Monsters Live Amongst Us, and it's on Amazon. And it's done incredibly well. It's had some wonderful feedback. It's got a 5-star rating. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, if you're not sure if you're being abused by someone, or if you think you might be in a narcissistic relationship, take a look at the book. It's got some great sections in. It teaches you how to spot, stop abuse, recover, heal, and also how to never be a victim of abuse again. It's also got a whole section devoted to mental martial arts, how you absolutely can fight people verbally who are narcissistic, how to stop yourself falling into those traps, and I do a whole section within that on verbal jiu-jitsu. Now, the reason I've done this vlog post today is I thought I would actually focus it on what has become the most popular, the most read blog post I ever have written. And it's had thousands of people look at it, and it is what to do if you have a narcissistic person within your family. And when I mean within your family, I don't just mean someone you're in a relationship or someone you might have married. I mean actually if you've got like a sister or a brother or a cousin or an uncle or an aunt, what do you actually do? Because this is really difficult, because the chances are nobody will believe you. And initially people have come to me and they've said, I'm the victim of narcissism. They've got someone who's abusing me within my family. And other people just don't see it. And I think the important thing to first acknowledge here is people don't want to see it. Because if you're really switched on, if you're really aware of what's going on, and other people are almost just putting up that smoke screen themselves, which narcissists love, it's because they don't want to actually do anything about it. Because if people acknowledge you're right, they've also then got to deal with the situation. You see, the thing is, most people are just really happy to just write behaviour off. They will write other people's behaviours off, and it's a really form of really weak thinking. They don't actually want to deal with the situation. So they'll say, oh, the person's having an off day, or they're just like that, or you know what they're like, or I'm sure they don't mean it. or maybe they're having a few problems at the moment. No, they're a card-carrying narcissist and they're abusing you and you know it. You have to absolutely stand up for yourself in this situation, because the weak thinking in others will actually leave the person who is abusing you open to abuse you even further. Because you really need to be clever. You really need to think outside the box here a little bit. Because everyone often plays into the narcissist's hands because they don't want to deal with the situation. So what do you do? What do you do if you've actually got someone who is abusing you and you can't seem to get anyone to see the situation from your side? And I know what that's like, because for many years it happened. People won't. Narcissists are they're brilliant at disguising themselves. The reason I did this cover with the book with the face mask and the real face behind it is that's pretty much encapsulates what narcissists do. They will hide behind a mask. People won't even want to pull the mask away. They won't want to see what's behind it. So what do you do? What do you actually do here if you suspect this is the case and you can't get anyone to support you? And I know this might sound odd, but the first thing you want to do is actually remind yourself that you're correct. You might have to just keep your own wise counsel to initially begin with, because no one's going to support you. I know it's tough, I know it's difficult, I know it's hard. I know what that's like, trying to tell other people that there is a narcissistic abuser in the family and they won't believe them. Sometimes it's really difficult. So you keep your own counsel, because other people will tell you you're wrong. They don't want to buy into it. When you can do this, when you can keep your own real positive and good counsel, you start to get yourself to a place where you're really centered and focused. And that is one of the things that I actually teach people to do when they have live one-to-one sessions with me, either in person or on Skype, is I teach people how to become centered, how to become more focused. And I think that's an important thing to do. It's about gaining control back of your own mind, because a lot of narcissists will attempt to actually pollute your thinking, make you think you're wrong, make you think that you're emotionally unwell through various gaslighting techniques. But you have to recall yourself here. You have to put yourselves back in that centered and that focused position. Don't let others dismiss your thoughts. Don't let them tell you that you're just paranoid or you're making this up, because the chances are you're probably not. You know when you're being abused. Weak people find all the excuses in the world for other abusive people. I remember once talking to a senior manager within an organisation and reporting someone for being abusive and narcissistic, and told them all manner of things that they'd done to other members of staff, and they basically just shrugged their shoulders and went, "None so strange as folk." What kind of a response is that from someone? None so strange as folk. It was about as good as they could get, because they knew if they honoured the words that I was saying, if they looked into what I was telling them, they would have to deal with this person. And they clearly were not strong enough to deal with this very strong, very aggressive, narcissistic person. So you might not always find people who are going to keep good counsel with you, because most people don't want conflict. Remember that. Most people will avoid anything where they fear there's going to be bad feelings, emotional upset, because they may well not be strong enough to deal with it. Now, your average narcissist will be absolutely fine. They will not worry about that at all. They will be more than happy if there's conflict, if there's issues, if there's concerns. In fact, actually, they'll probably get a buzz from that. They'll be really excited about it. So you're going to feel you're all alone, the only dissenting voice, and you're taking on someone and talking about someone who was skillfully manipulated loads of other people to get onto their side. But it's okay. Just accept this part, accept this side. The next step is to actually go a little bit further in looking for support and help, because you might not get it from in your family. You might find someone online to talk to, you might join a forum, you might join a group. Go out and talk to a friend and just discuss what is happening. Because emotionally, you need to build what I call emotional fighting muscle. It's really important, the emotional fighting muscle you build. And in order to do that, you need to actually be able to share your thoughts with other people. You need to get other positive thoughts come back in. You need to get the thoughts of people who aren't associated, aren't connected, non-judgmental people who will probably believe you, who will actually re-establish you as actually having some really good, really positive thought. When you find someone else to talk to understand you, it can sometimes just feel like the biggest relief. And I guess that's why people go to therapists, counselors, people who've had that same experience. Because the worst thing you can ever do is just keep it all in. Don't just shut yourself away. You've got to be open to exploring the thoughts, exploring the feelings, exploring the emotions. You need to seek out people who are going to support you. Almost put like a little support team together, like your best friend. Someone who you might get to meet and know online, someone who you can go and visit on a regular basis, who you can talk to these problems about. That's when you start to build your support team, and they will feed into your positive psyche, give you that strong emotional fighting muscle. This is going to be a long haul battle. This is the problem when you have narcissists in the family. It's going to be a long haul battle. You're not just going to resolve this. This is not going to be someone who you've realized is abusing you and is not in your life on a daily basis, so you can just get rid of them. This is going to be someone who's going to be in your world, in your family, in your life. And what I always say to people is, you need to prepare for war. And that's not always a nice thing to have to acknowledge or accept. But you do have to approach it like war. As Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, every battle is won before it even starts. So you really need to think it through. You need to be aware that until people are going to start to accept the reality of what's going on, that you're going to need to keep wise counsel with yourself. Choose carefully who you talk to. That's the first thing that you need to do to start to build some really strong emotional fighting muscle. Now, I know I've not given you a lot in this first blog, but I'm going to do a follow-up blog where I'll tell you a little bit more about the steps that you need to take when actually dealing with a narcissist. But this fundamental step, this is the foundations under which you're going to build your strong emotional fighting muscle. And that's actually reclaiming your own mind, talking to non-judgmental people, finding people who will support you, because like any battle, it's going to be taxing and it's going to take its toll on you. So start to find really good supportive people. When you've got that background support, when you've got those people to go to, then you can start to actually take on the family narcissist. But until then, you have to start to just become centered, focused, explore what it is to actually get back to who you are, really heal yourself first. Because the narcissist will have put all sorts of things in place over the years to destroy your self-confidence, give you low self-esteem. You've got to draw back, first of all. Like an army, you first of all got to go into retreat. You've got to really start to reserve and conserve your energies. You've got to build up your strength, build up your resources before you can actually go and take a narcissist on. I hope you've enjoyed this first blog. I hope it's given you a few ideas of what you may want to do. Always have a look out for my site, Monsters Live Amongst Us. You can also find me on Facebook. Like I say, the book's on Amazon. Take a look at that if you think that's something you'd like to read. And look out for other further blog posts in the future. Okay, I look forward to talking to you again.